Hey, good morning guys. Today I want to do some damage control. So when I was filming my August garden tour, this little Cotyledon Pendens came crashing down. I think the little plastic hanger was weather worn, and so I've gathered up all the broken off bits. I've also got some string of watermelon that I can just pop into some sphagnum moss to reroot. So I'm just going to take this inside and reset this whole pot. Okay, so I've cut this all the way back. Now I am going to water this and just pop it somewhere in the shade and see if anything grows back. Now the remaining ones I'm going to propagate 3 ways. So I've got cuttings like this. I've taken them to the fresh growth, so where it's still green, and then just remove the lower leaves. Just remove the lower leaves. And then I'm going to let these callus over the next 2 days. And then I'm just going to pop these into succulent soil. Then I've got ones that are a lot smaller. So these are tiny little ones that I don't want to throw out. I've got a whole bunch of these. That one's damaged. Let me pull that off. Now I don't want to put them into the same pot as these because these guys will overshadow those. So I'm going to have the longer pot, the shorter pot. And then the other way is with these clumps. So if you look at the stem at the top here, you can see all these little roots. So I clipped this one off here. So this piece will act as a stake. And then I'm just going to take this piece and push it down into fresh succulent soil. And then just make sure to bury this section so that can root in. So I'm just going to work my way through these remaining ones and then I'll show you where I'm at. Okay, so I've got them all separated. On this side, I've got the tiny little pieces. Whoops. And then on this side, I've just got the taller pieces. They're not that much different. And what I think I'm going to do is just cover this tray with cling film. Because of the tiny little roots, I don't want them to dry out too much while I'm waiting for the ends to callus. So let me cover that. Then maybe just keep those leaves, and then this little bit I am going to throw out. It's been a few days and I finally received my pots off of Amazon. I love the green on green. Look how cute it looks. And especially when these start blooming, they make the most incredible orange flower. See, they make these beautiful orange blooms. There's a new one. So I'm hoping to make this a nice giant hanging basket in time. Now I do like the size of this pot, but it might be a little bit deep. If you look at the old plant, it doesn't have an extensive root system. Very fine little roots. I'm going to fill 1/4 of the base of the pot up with leca before I add the soil, just to reduce the soil volume and reduce the chance of root rot. Now I do have 2 of these, and this pot is for a separate project, and I love that they come with metal chains because I don't want this plant falling again. So this is the soil mix I'm going to use. It's from Black Gold. This will be the majority of the mix. And then I'm going to throw in some of this orchid mix and some pumice just to help with drainage. This succulent soil is actually very nice. It's got a lot of perlite. I think it's perlite in it. There, it's just a nice, well-draining mix. Now, to prevent the lecker balls from blocking up the drainage holes, because they kind of fit perfectly in there, I'm just going to place some rock over the base first. There you go. And then now I'm going to add some lecker. Oops. Okay, I just ran a whole bunch of water over the lecker just to make sure that it's draining well. And now I'm going to add the succulent soil over top. I am going to add a bit of the mycorrhizae. Now, it's probably not necessary, but I always use hormone rooting powder. And I'm just going to pop them all into the hanging basket. Now, I'm going to put these pretty close together, and I'll just see how they grow in. And if they need more space, I can always pop some out. Okay, this one's done. So this will be the next pot I use. It's got this little pedestal thing. I think it's supposed to be a self-watering pot, but I did go ahead and put extra holes in. And I am going to do some lecker again before I add the succulent soil. Now the clumps are the ones with the roots on the stem. So I'm just going to, I'm not even going to put hormone rooting because there's so many roots already. And I'm basically going to, let me just use my skewer and just push it down into the soil. And then most of these have tiny little roots. I'm just going to put my skewer sort of in this gap and then push it down. This way is way easier than the single ones. Okay, if you ever find yourself in this situation, the clumps is the way to go. This took me less than 2 minutes. And yeah, instant impact. I'm going to bounce this just to make sure that all the soil air pockets are closed. And then I'm not going to water this one right away either, because this black gold soil is actually pretty damp. It came out the bag damp. So I'm just going to put this outside, and as soon as it's bone dry, I will start watering this one because there are tiny roots already. So this is what I'm left with. Now I don't want to throw this out, and I don't need any more. So I'm going to do a pot for a friend of mine and for my sister-in-law and gift that to them. I've potted all the Cotyledon Pendens up. It just blows my mind that all of this plant material came out of this tiny little hanging basket. Now I do have some left in this tray that I'm not going to keep, except for these leaves. I just want to take a few of them and lay them on dry soil. I'm just curious to see if they make little pups. I'm going to place these 5 pots outside here under this table. It's got like a little ledge and then it's shaded by the table, and they can just sit there and root in. So next I'm going to take in the string of watermelon hanging basket. I noticed a mealybug on here when I was doing my August garden tour. And then I do want to clean off all these old blooms and just assess the plant. Okay, so I'm going to go around the plant and just see for damaged pieces like in here. This piece can be rerouted. Here's a damaged piece. This piece cannot be salvaged. This piece actually rotted away. Ooh, okay, let me throw that away. Now this beautiful string of watermelons has been blooming its head off since I took it outside in the spring. She's just finished a flush of blooms. You can see all the spent buds. Now I'm going to pick these off, and I think I'm going to pop these into some peat moss just to see if there's any viable seed. So I'm curious about that. And then I am going to be cutting off all the new blooms just to give her a break. But look how cute these blooms are. The little twirly whirlies at the top. So I'm going to clean her up. I also want to spray her with some 7. So tonight when the sun goes down, I am going to put her on the patio and mix up some 7 and douse her, because I did see a mealybug on her when I was doing my August garden tour. And I don't see any right now, but there is a lot of white fluff because of the blooms. And there are so many nooks and crannies, so it's kind of impossible to know if there are any more mealybugs. So I'm going to spray her. And then let me quickly clean her up on time lapse, and then I will show you what she looks like when I'm done. Okay, so she's all cleaned up and looking so much better. Now I do think I'm going to go ahead and clip these ends off. You can see these roots are begging to get into some soil, and I think just by clipping this, it's just going to stall her out more. Now I'm not going to spray her for the mealybugs. First of all, I didn't see any more, and while I was cleaning up the spent blooms, a little ladybug crawled out, so I don't want to kill any beneficials. So I'm just going to spray her when I bring her in the fall. Now some of the pieces I just clipped off because I wanted to try and balance the plant out. So the ones that don't have roots, I'm just going to pop into moist sphagnum moss. This one's got roots in 3 places. So I think I'm going to put this piece in sphagnum. I'll plant that piece. So there's 3 pieces with roots. This one's got a nice root at the bottom, but it's quite weird looking. I think I'm going to clip it there and root that in moss. This one's got one massive root here. I can just push that into the soil. This one's got a root up here. Oops. This one's got multiple roots. I could actually do that one. This one on its own. This one's got a weird root coming out at the top there. I might just bury this whole stick. Actually do that. Bury that all the way until this root. This one's got so many little roots. I think I'll do that. Oops, that. And then this one can just go in by itself. It's got one little root. Okay, so I've got all these little pieces cut. Now I'm not going to plant them now because of the wet cut ends and this soil being a bit moist. So I'm just going to leave them on top of this pot just to callus over for a few days. Let me see this one. So I've got some moist sphagnum moss. I just want to move some out because I do cover the string of watermelons up. So this is the super dehydrated one that was laying on the floor. Now this one's got beautiful roots, so this one should bounce back pretty quickly. I wonder, should I leave this one whole so we can monitor it? Yeah, let's put it in like that. Now I've got this product I want to try. It's called Great White. And I haven't used it in many applications, but it's supposed to be really good with root development. Now, is it good to put it on moss? I don't know, but I'm going to do it anyway. I'm just going to sprinkle a bit on the stem. And then I've got this ugly shriveled up one. This one's really ugly though. Yeah, what the heck? Let's just put it in. You can always throw it away. And then these are the ones that I clipped off today that don't have any roots. I should probably let these callus over. What the heck, I'm just going to put them in. Here's another shriveled up one. Put him in the corner here. And this long one, let me just cut this ugly piece off here. That's right, let me take that off completely. I'm just going to pop it in and see if anything grows. Okay, I'm just going to sprinkle some of this powder on. And I'm just going to cover them just lightly. I don't want to smother them. I just want them to have some moisture. Okay, so everyone's tucked in. Now this sphagnum moss is soaked, so if you really squeeze it, water will come out. But there's no dripping or there's no, like, it's not sopping. So that's barely moist. And then of course the lid will keep the humidity quite high in there. Now I will check this every 2 weeks or so, just to make sure the moss has still got a bit of moisture in it. And if not, I'll just give it a mist. I think in about a month's time or so, you should be able to see roots on all of them. Then finally, for the string of watermelons, I'm going to put a little bit of succulent soil in the base of this container. Now the string of watermelons, I do want to see if I can get them to seed. I don't think it'll work, but I'm going to try anyway. I've just put some succulent soil in. Now I'm not sure if they require light or dark, so I'm going to do half where they're just laying on the top, and the other half I'll lightly cover. I think I'm just going to sprinkle a whole bunch of different ones. I just want to make sure. Maybe some are viable, some aren't. Okay, I think that should do it. I am going to push it down so that it makes contact with the soil. And then I am going to cover the one side, just lightly. And then just for shits and giggles, I'm just going to sprinkle some great white just on the top section. If it would come out, there we go. I should mark that somehow. Maybe this. So this top section got some great white powder, and I'm just going to mist this in. Okay, and I'm just gonna keep this covered and see if anything happens. Probably not, but I'm just curious. Okay, so I'm done with the string of watermelons. And then finally, I've got this super donkey tail. I bought this online from Mountain Crest Gardens. I think I've had this for about 4 months, and it's put on quite a lot of length. But I don't just want 5 twigs in this hanging basket. So I am going to chop these in half, and then I'm going to reset all of them into this hanging basket. So I'm just going to assess each one, and I want to see, I'm going to pull off, I want to save these as well, just that I can make a good cut. And this one, I think. So I'm going to clip it right here. Oops. There you go. I want to show you the difference in size between these two donkey's tails. So this is just the regular one. And then if I hold the super up next to it, it's significantly bigger. Now, I don't know its growth habit. I'm not sure if it'll trail as beautifully as the regular donkey tail, but I should know by spring because these grow pretty well for me over the winter in my basement. So I am going to leave these to dry because they've got quite a big wound. Let me just cut all of these. Let me see, I want to do... And then I will save these leaves because, oops, my lunch is ready. Here we go. I'm just going to let them first callus over, as well as these. I won't pot them up today because the soil is moist. Oops. Okay, so I'm just going to leave these in here to dry for about 3 days, and then I will pot all of them into this green pot. So it's about 2 days later, and the little cut ends have calloused over. So I'm going to quickly pop these guys out. Let me see how badly they've rooted. Oh, they've got quite a nice root system. I'm going to knock some of that off. Now this pot is not much bigger than this one, but I did want a pot that's got the metal chains, and I think I can get these in here comfortably. Should I put rooting powder on these? No, these actually root pretty easy. I'm just going to squish them in. Looks like I'm going to have one extra. Dang it. I think I'm going to move this one forward or backwards. Let me move it back. Okay, so they're potted up. I am going to put this under the same table as the Cotyledon Pendens, and I won't water this as well for 2 weeks, but I will show you guys every time I go and look for roots. I'm going to pop it on camera and just show you. Now I'm going to quickly pop these string of watermelons into this container. The black gold soil has come with a lot of fungus gnats. I can just see so many baby fungus gnats flying around here. Ugh. Oops, I snapped that. This is the one with the one root all the way at the top, so I'm just going to sink this one in pretty deep and pull the roots under. So the string of watermelons are potted up. So I placed the super donkey tail and the string of watermelon under the same table as the Cotyledon Pendens, and just until things start rooting, and then I will transition them to more sunnier spots. And then the little leaf cuttings I've just got in a Tupperware, and as soon as I see little pups forming on the ends, I'll pot those up. I'll take you along every couple of weeks and just show you how they are rooting in and growing. So Hubs is going to help me move the donkey tail window box. He's just going to place some brackets kind of on the fence here, and we're just going to raise it up and just see how it looks. Okay, so we've moved the giant donkey tail window box up onto the fence, and this gap was bothering me, so I just popped my begonia maculata on there, and it looks so beautiful. Now in the spring I did hang her up here, and you can just see how much growth she's put on since then. So beautiful.